Hey besties, this is the most anticipated video on this channel because a lot of you besties started subscribing to my channel because of the video I made on the 5 interview questions for healthcare assistants. And oh my god, I kept hearing part 2, part 2, part 2, part 2. You asked and I've delivered. So today we are continuing. So we started with top 5. Now we are going to 6 to 10. And after this video, if you still want a part 3, you only need to tell me and I'm going to create a video for you. If you're watching me for the first time, my name is Ada and I'm also known as Thelegalpepper. I release relocation and lifestyle content for your viewing pleasure. So if you've not watched that other video, please, I'll be dropping the link so you can watch because we are continuing. So number 6, why do you want to be a healthcare assistant? By the way, if you've not watched the previous video, I talk about the likely interview questions, be it for care assistants, support workers, and basically any job in this field, because these interview questions would pertain to you. And I tell you the questions, I tell you the rationale behind these questions and how best to answer. Basically, I give you like tips on some things you need to say for your interviewer to know that this person knows what they're doing. So the question, why do you want to be a healthcare assistant? So why? Why? Of course, you're not going to say, oh, because I need the money. No, let's even assume that's your reason. But the major reason behind this question is they really want to know what you're about. Like, why do you want to be a healthcare assistant or a support worker? Or basically, I would use these words interchangeably so you understand. So the first thing I would advise you to do is ask yourself why you really want to be a care worker or healthcare assistant. And I know that it could be because of the money, but if you are being sincere with each other, you could have done other jobs. Yes, care work would be an easier option, but you still could have done other jobs. So apart from the money, there is something that is pushing you into that field. And for me, it's going to be my empathy. I'm a strong empath, and of course, a job like care work or support work like flows with me. For me, what I would usually say is I am an empathetic person and my personality and skill set aligns with being a care worker. For instance, when I was younger, besties, you see what I just did now? I'm trying to give a story. Learn to give stories. See, be a storyteller, even if you are not. That's why you should prepare well before you even go for this interview. So for instance, when I was younger, I had a huge passion to help vulnerable people, and so I've worked in orphanages, I've cared for an autistic cousin, and not only that, I'm currently studying to become a social worker because of my interest and strong passion of being in the healthcare industry. And so I think it's such a rewarding career with interesting experiences because no 2 days would be the same. Every day you get to meet people with different personalities, and this is something that I genuinely love because I love working with people. That's usually my answer. Now, you may be watching me here and maybe you are not trying to become a social worker. It doesn't matter. If your career path is not a healthcare path, you can say your personality, your skill set, you are an active listener, you are a kind person, you are empathetic, you love the variety of working with people, you love this, you love that, you love the healthcare industry, you love how rewarding the career path is, then say it. So that's how to answer why do you want to be a healthcare worker. Number 7 is, what are the qualities of a good healthcare assistant or a good support worker? Now for this question, they are judging if you even know what you're applying for. Like, do you even know what you're applying for? And the best way to answer this question is for you to properly read the job description. Every job opportunity would have job descriptions, and once you read it, you would actually know what the qualities of a support worker should be. So for me, I would usually say the qualities of a healthcare assistant would be being safety conscious, because when providing support or care to clients, you have to put their safety at hand. They like hearing things like that. I also think you need to be empathetic. You need to be an active listener, because you have to prioritize whatever your clients want. So far, it's not going to jeopardize their safety. Also, you should have the skills of being calm under pressure, because you may experience some clients that may need more patience, and you have to have that ability within you. So in that vein, you should have strong communication skills. And finally, you should be able to adhere to strict healthcare rules and procedures. This last thing I just said is very important, because to be a healthcare assistant, you have to follow their strict procedures. So you have to let them know that it's a skill for you to be able to adhere to the instructions, because when you're a healthcare worker, you're a support worker, if you cannot follow these policies to the latter, you would fall into trouble. If you are supporting a client and it is 2-to-1, that is 2 carers to 1 client, if you go alone as though it's a 1-to-1 client, you will put yourself in trouble. So you have to make them know that you have it as a quality, so you know that it's a quality of a healthcare assistant to be able to follow strict instructions, not going through the corners, like you're following the laws and policies. So that's a very important thing to note. Number 8, how would you deal with an abusive or aggressive client or staff? Now, at this point, they're trying to test your values, your character, your anger management skills. So what are you going to do if a client is aggressive towards you? Do you want to beat the client up? And that's not even a shocking thing, because there are carers that have beaten up their clients. Because sincerely, if you've been in this care field or support work field, you would know that it is very easy to lose your cool. There are some clients that would literally find your trouble. Some clients would hit you. Some clients would test you, and that's the truth. So they're trying to ask, so what will happen? Would you beat up that person? What would you do? What would you do? Or if a fellow staff is abusive towards you, aggressive towards you, what would you do? If it's towards a client, what I would say is, I would first try to communicate with the client to see if there is something I have done to have triggered that person. Can you see what I've just done now? So now a client is abusive or aggressive to me. Instead of me to lash out at the client, my first point of discussion is, what have I done? This is you being accountable, because you're thinking about what you could have done to have triggered that client to act abusive or aggressive towards you. Now, once you say that, it shows a lot of accountability on your part. Of course, if after that the client is still being aggressive, you would look for other de-escalation options. To de-escalate is to bring down the tension. So if a client is abusive to you, you have to look for a way to bring down the tension. And that's your job, because you are the staff there. And you can do this in various ways. So you could do a change of face de-escalation, which is you reaching out to another support worker to take over. Because sometimes some clients could be triggered by your face. They could just be triggered by you. So another staff coming in could help. If you've tried to communicate to the client and they are still not listening to you, of course, you could try other options of ensuring that their needs are met, their safety is guaranteed. So of course, if it's something that escalates, you would let the on-site supervisor or whoever is around in the building know about it. You would record it, because when something like that has happened, it's called an incident. So you record it, because what is not recorded did not happen. So you record it. But if it's in the case of a staff, you would still try to check if there is anything you've done to trigger the person. If there is, you would apologize. If there isn't, you would communicate to the person in a non-threatening way, ensuring that there is no conflict between you both. But if through communication nothing else happens, then you would report to the superior or your manager, who would be in the better position to mediate between both of you. Now, in both instances, in the first instance, you've shown that you have good communication skills. You've shown that you care about collaboration. You've shown that you put the client first. because these people want to hear that you put the client first, sometimes even before you. For your fellow co-worker, the fellow staff, you have to show that you also have good communication skills, and if it's something that wants to escalate, you're willing to reach out to a higher authority to mediate. So all of this is just to prove that you are not a troublemaker. You are not an abusive person or an aggressive person. You're not the type that once someone is aggressive towards you or abusive to you, you just lash out. Because to them, that's going to be unprofessional. And even though we know that there are some times that some things happen and it just happens at the spur of the moment, and you may act in a way that is maybe different from how you should act, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that you be professional at all times. And actually, even when you get the job, you have to strive, especially as a person of color. You literally have to strive to be as professional as possible and ensure to keep records of any incident, because whatever is not written down, whatever is not documented, did not happen. Now, number 9, they could ask you, if a nurse asks you to give a medication to a client, what would you do? Now, in this question, they're trying to assess whether you follow the strict rules of the healthcare industry. And the strict rules is, if you are not trained to give medications, you should never give medications. And in this country, they are so serious about this. And medications is something as little as paracetamol. I remember the first time a client, like, she said she was having headache, and I was not medically trained then. I instinctively wanted to give her paracetamol. But I remembered, I said, Ada, no way. I communicated to her that she would have to wait for the person that's medically trained to come and give her that paracetamol. Now, between you and I, you wonder, and it's not just paracetamol, but in this country, someone can actually kill themselves using paracetamol. So you have to be careful. It's not just paracetamol, it's a drug. So they are trying to test if you understand all of these things. They're trying to test your integrity, your professionalism, whether you even have competence or not. My answer would be, if I have been trained to administer medications, then I would administer medications in line with the processes and policies. But if I have not been trained to administer medications, I would politely tell the nurse no and give my reasons for saying no. Although I'm open to helping out as much as possible, I would not breach the code of conduct and the rules and policies of the organization and the healthcare industry at large, because I'm focused on providing excellent person-centered care to all my clients. What do you think? Because that tells them that, okay, I am assertive. So if someone is telling me to do the wrong thing, even if it's the senior nurse, even if it's my manager, I would say no politely and explain why. Now, the 10th question, which is our last question for today, is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Now, for this one, they're trying to test if you just want to hit and run, whether you just want to stay there and go away. Because for some reason, they want you to have passion for the job. They want you to have your heart and your soul in the healthcare industry. So this is not the right time to tell them, oh, you plan to be something very different from what you're currently doing. You plan to be the Prime Minister of the UK, you plan to be this, you plan to be that, even if you have those lofty aspirations, it still has to have like a ground in the healthcare industry. So for me, it was quite easy. I told them, oh yeah, in 5 years' time, I'm going to be an established social worker with my legal stay here in the country, and due to the wealth of experience I would have in the healthcare industry, I would be able to better support my clients and ensure that they have the best form of care possible. Now, what I've done is I've told them that, see, I have interest in the healthcare industry. I'll become a social worker. So that's in the healthcare industry. Now, for you, if you don't want to be a social worker or that's not your field, you could say, in the next 5 years, I see myself being well established as a superior in the senior management role in the organization I'm in. That tells them that you have plans of staying there permanently, because these people want you to be there for as long as possible. You could also say, oh yeah, you have plans of owning a care home in future, which shows that you have, or what I'm saying is that you have to show them that you genuinely care about the healthcare industry. And that tells them a lot. It tells them where your head is at. It tells them that you are thinking long term, because they will be more willing to invest in you if they know that you are going to be there for a longer term than you just hitting it, getting the money and disappearing. So in all of these, nobody's saying you should lie. No, but we are saying you should use wisdom. Know what to say and what not to say. It's not every aspect of your life they have to know. You have to be strategic and put some structure in whatever you're saying. Because when you are in an interview, you are being judged by everything. They're not your friends. Your interviewer is not your friend. They are thinking of themselves. You are there because they feel you have value and they want to take your time and give you money in exchange. So you have to be smart, you have to be strategic, you have to know what to say to land the job you desire and forge ahead in life. So besties, if you like this video and you want to know more interview questions or more HR related content, let me know, because I'm at your service. Whatever you want, I'm gonna give you. In the meantime, I'm dropping a playlist that is going to benefit you for all HR related issues. And until next time, stay blessed, remain happy, and I wish you good luck in your next interview. And I'm going to be seeing you next time. Bye guys. Mwah.